Hello, greetings. I'm in a park. Just went for a cycle and that. Mental health starts with exercise, so I'm trying to keep practicing that. Yes, so this is a quick story of what was happening over the weekend in Manchester, and what I did or didn't get up to. Yeah, so George Floyd, don't need to talk about George Floyd, everyone watching this should know. Black Lives Matter protest in Manchester, what caught on was that it was going to go down in Manchester and it's going to happen. And so I went on Saturday, I see it on social media, I went on Saturday, but I ain't been sleeping well, brothers and sisters, I ain't been sleeping well for about 3 months. And I would say it's definitely to do with what's happened to George Floyd, but obviously that is in America, but also just being aware of that and kind of finally waking up a little bit to what is going on in England, because I was one of these people that was saying like, look, it's not as bad, even if just because police don't have guns, like regular police on the beat don't have guns, it's not as bad. But I've come to the higher understanding of what racism is, and I think what I put this to anyone that says the same thing that I did, that like, oh, it's not as bad, it's not really about comparative suffering. I don't do that anymore. Like, oh, this community, Asian community, Muslim community, Somali, Caribbean, West Africa, like, oh, we've got our suffering. I'm not into all that. We're all suffering, everyone's suffering for whatever reason. And it's about talking about that and seeing which ways we can, do you know what I mean, communicate and find solidarity in each other. But yeah, for people that are thinking like me, I would like you to ask yourself, if you think the UK is not as bad and it's, it's okay here and stuff, is to open up a WordPad on your phone, or get your WordPad out, or get a Keep Note up, and write down how many times, all the instances, starting with your first instance of when you felt people disliked you because of the colour of your skin. And mine was early, and I had to call my mum the other day just to check details of it, because you have like creative memory and that. And I wrote a speech for the protest, because I clocked it was about speeches. The way it started was speeches, so people coming in wanting to talk and trying to not curate but just make sure like different voices are heard from the black community, and that was at the Victoria statue, I think it's called, in Piccadilly Gardens. That was at about 1 p.m. And yeah, so I'm thinking about what's the early times I've knew I was going to be seen as black. Like, so I'm mixed race, but going to be seen as black. And then thinking of that, and then just going through all the times, innit? And I realised it's every day that you think, oh, I have to step like this, I have to smile like this, or whatever. And I'm a confident I like to think I'm a confident person who's confident in my own skin, but you still manoeuvre, because you don't want to, do you know what I mean? You still manoeuvre certain situations, whether it's job interviews, whether it's if you're renting a house or buying a house, with your, like, there's so many things, bro. So many things. And so with the protest, I came late on Saturday, because I was just a mess, man. I've been working full-time, whole lockdown, just trying to save up money, support my my brother and sister, support myself, obviously. And like, I'm tired, bro. I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? So Saturday, I learned how to march. I got late to the thing, so I didn't see the speeches. I'm just getting there and I'm seeing thousands of people in Piccadilly, marching around Market Street, marching down to Dean's Gate, coming back. And like, I'm deep into the march now. I'm seeing people lead the chants is white people. It's like the Greenpeace dreadlock having white people. Do you know what I'm saying? The skinny, fire in their belly kind of white people leading the thing. I'm thinking, yeah, they've been protesting, innit, like for different things, and this is a thing they're supporting. But me being me, I'm slightly embarrassed. I'm like, right, okay, you're leading, so I'm getting in there. And the first one I tried to rock was "We Can't Breathe." We can't breathe. The first kind of chant it didn't bang. So I've moved on further up in the crowd, found some other people that I think was already loud. I can't breathe. I changed it to I can't breathe. Boom, and it caught like a Mexican wave. It felt like I was at football. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't really even go to football games and stuff, but that was the only comparison I had to that. And then I'm like trying to find more. I'm seeing like a lot of young black people not just kind of walking, maybe on their phone, kind of quiet. They're not sure what this is. Do you know what I'm saying? But I know these. I'm looking at these dons. Some dons are my height. They're like 5'11", like they're and up. Thinking you know how to make noise, and if you're at football screaming at each other, you're playing FIFA. You know how to make noise. But it's not about being angry at people for not knowing stuff. Like, so yeah, I learned how to properly remind myself of how to protest and chant. And then I was going round, and I'm tired, bro. My batteries are already low, so I had to just drop out and go to my girlfriend's place because, yeah, I had to drop out. And then I was confused. I was like, I don't know what is this? What's the point of it? And then I see the speeches on Viv's Mr. Pre-Season on Instagram. Anyone who wants to see the speeches from Manchester, I'll try and put them in a link. We're going to try and distribute them through the Black Lives Matter pages and that. I'm just like, quote unquote, I didn't organise none of these protests. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm only say that because I don't want credit for that. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing to do with it. But yeah, so the speeches. I've come home Saturday night, and I'm like, right, feel a bit weird. And I've gone on my phone. You shouldn't really go on your phone late. I'm trying not to do that so much, especially Instagram. I've definitely developed a problem with Instagram in the last 3 months. But yeah, I've gone to check the speeches now. And there's a guy, as I say, Viv, he recorded every speech that started from 1 p.m. in Victoria Square. And there was a woman who was maybe in her late 30s, maybe, a mixed race woman, black leather jacket and that. She had the mic, I think she was second, and she was like, I've been waiting 40 years for this. The looking out to the sea of people on the PA system. So I've been waiting 40 years for this. And she just spoke about her personal story growing up. Do you get me? Like being vilified for being mixed race or half black, and then how that permeated into the workplace and into her work kind of stuff. And then yeah, I just saw more and more speeches, and I thought, right, this is going down. And then I wrote this speech, and then I went for, I'm going back tomorrow, and I'm going to be early. Like Carnival, it gets rammed. You don't know what's going on. You can't see above people and all that. So I thought I'll go really early. And anyone asked me on Instagram, you see I went there, St. Peter's Square, when it was dead out, and it was just a few people there. This guy called Leighton, with a girl there, and they had water, and then someone gave me a wristband with a solicitor's number that would help if anything happened. I think this comes from like the wider Black Lives Matter, which obviously started in America. And they give you tools for you to get. But yeah, so there's a few stories of this, man. There's a few stories to go into. I can't put it onto this one into this long video maybe, but I'm just looking around seeing what's going on. Because there's about 10 of us there now. There's like a group of colourfully dressed queer group, I'd say. So give a nod to them. There's a few white people come in, give a nod to them. There's the young people. I'm saying most of them was young, like maybe like university age, innit, like 21 down. And yeah, just okay, cool. And I actually got in a conversation with this guy called Milad from he runs UK Asian TV, and he's a 20-year-old, and he does infographics on Instagram. He's got like 20k followers. He does infographics educating the South Asian community on their own history. And it brings me to this, like the curriculum stuff. People are calling for the curriculum, like you need to learn your own history. I didn't learn my own, like I didn't learn really about even the English side, the working class, go to the army, get a job at 16 or younger. I didn't learn about that kind of history until after uni, bro. So the black history as well, you get little bits, but I had to learn that as well. So I encourage everyone to try and like, ask your parents and grandparents. I'm still getting information from my nan now of how her granddad was in the her dad died when she was young, and he was fighting in what I assume is the West Indian Regiment of the British Army, and she never really knew him growing up. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's mad, bro. Like my black granddad, Caribbean granddad. Like we're talking 1900s, like not that far from slavery. We're talking like 50, 100 years from slavery, and he's died fighting in the army. What's he gonna get out of that? Nothing. He end up dying, and his kids got nothing. So, just I encourage everyone to learn that. And yeah, so the speeches went down. This Asian brother had a touching story of how his aunt was really was kind of bullied and racially abused on the bus when he was a young man, and no one stood up for him on the bus. Different white people, different Asian people didn't stand up for him on the bus. His aunt, but a black pensioner did, and so he stood up and said, I want to thank the black community, innit, on behalf of South Asian people. I want to thank the black community because, this old black pensioner, is the only one that had the guts to do it. And it's because the black people know what it's like. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and he spoke about how in the 1920s in New York, where South Asians were moving into the community, people did not want them there. They got called the N-word. And the only community that took them in was the black community, even though they had virtually nothing themselves. And so that's what I'm saying. It's all about the link-ups and knowing your history and studying it. Yeah, man. And so there was other speeches there, a few elders that spoke, which is great as well. And then we got to the marching, man. Also on there, the Sunday protests, what I'm hearing is Sunday protests were organised by like uni students. Do you get me? Like 19, 20 years old. From what I gather, not even ACS, just uni students, black uni students, black and mixed race uni students. And it just kind of bubbled from Twitter. They made a page, Manchester BLM on Twitter. And then Saturday, another remarkable story is that it's a group called the Manchester March, and I'm hearing that this is two 16-year-old girls that got this going. And do you know what I'm saying? There was easily over 4,000 people there in Piccadilly Gardens, so it just bubbled and bubbled and bubbled and bubbled, which is crazy, right? So yeah, I'm trying to speak to these people. We're trying to get in touch with them, the sort of Manchester alumni, trying to get in touch with them. But yeah, man, that is just basically my experience, and I'm saying I got the best night's sleep I had in 3 months, really, probably on Saturday night. And it's reminding me I need to keep my exercise going. Even if the weather's bad, then I can skip in the yard and that. But yeah, that's pretty much the story. We've been in touch with people, been talking to people. A couple aunties from Moss Side when I was working there, about the history of this kind of stuff in Manchester. Manchester, again, I have to say this again, like Manchester is a radical city. A few of the speakers were saying this. Manchester is a very radical city. People are generally kinder to each other than I experience in London, and people like Gary Neville and people who speak up here. Jason Manford, probably the biggest white celebrity, most clear white celebrity response I've seen was his post to a person that didn't understand, and he spoke about slavery and all this kind of stuff. So that's interesting. I'd like to see more of that, more white football players and white people that have grown up with us speaking. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not even sure Jason Manford grew up with black people. Do you know what I'm saying? But he must have a few if he's from Salford. So yeah, man, yeah, kind of lost track of my thought. But yeah, just seeing those responses help, and I feel like as active as I can be in Manchester, as active as the Caribbean community, who a lot of times we feel like we're at the bottom. And if you look at, I don't necessarily agree with that, but like the school tables, school achievement tables, it's usually black Caribbeans at the bottom. Maybe Somali if you want to isolate that as a group, but it's normally black Caribbeans. I encourage you to look at your own school that you went to, if you're from an inner city area, in anywhere, Manchester, Birmingham, London, and have a look at who's, the groups that are achieving. And there's so many reasons for that. That's not to do with wanting to work hard and wanting to be a boss and wanting to earn a trade and earn a living. It's not necessarily to do with that. So yes, that is basically my story. My speech, I'll try and put in a form where I can put it on here, because there were so many young people that wanted to speak, and they didn't have security as well. I don't want to talk too much about things. There was no drama that happened. It was very peaceful, super peaceful. But just everyone's really encouraged, like heavy to speak, and we needed to keep it social distanced around the main centre area. So yeah, we just had to regulate that from the centre. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, for my speech, my personal story, I want people to shout out Sunday, shout out Jojo and my missus for me, like people that read my speech and gave a little feedback on it. I will try and turn that into a thing I can put on here, like my own story. But yeah, I encourage everyone to go through really instances where being black hasn't helped, and definitely write down the first time you felt black, or the first time you can remember being racially abused in some way. Do you know what I'm saying? And I would love to hear your stories. Send them to me on WhatsApp, or send them to me on Insta, or whatever way. I'd love to hear them. And yeah, a big thing from we're trying to look at a speaker's corner, trying to look at a place where people can speak, because that's the biggest takeaway I got from going there. Is that a lot of people want to speak, man. A lot of people want to communicate. A lot of people want to reason. Not just lime and chill outside, even though that's good, but reason as well. Which is a good, wholesome, honest chat with people that you have affinity with and people that you trust. Like, if you need to reason, when I'm stressed or whatever, there's people I can holler at. And in the Caribbean, we definitely do this. You go to see your uncles or whatever, and you chill with them. Do you know what I'm saying? You talk about certain issues, and you feel better afterwards. It's therapy, and that's how I felt from the sort of speaker's corner thing we did. So we're trying to push for that in Manchester, in the city, but and trying to have it online as well, where it's safe, because it's not, it was tough. It was a risk for people to be out there with disproportionate numbers of black people that I'm seeing on social media and stuff like that, are being like fined and vilified by themselves for chilling outside by themselves. Police are saying dodgy stuff like, oh, with the COVID situation, just want to check that you're, like, they're just going to stop and search you, but they haven't got a line, they've got no, they haven't got grounds. Do you know what I'm saying? It's all mad. So it's nice to see people not get in trouble, but we can't keep doing that outside at the moment. So yes, that is my story. Big up.